Occasionally, I find it useful to take a step back and consider a situation from a more macro angle. We have been seeing franchises full throttling the retard on the message, and that has led a lot of people in the YouTube commentariat to declare victory on the message.tm in entertainment preemptively. However, we also see a lot of woke garbage fires get renewed no matter the apparent quality of said shows or lack thereof, which will of course lead people to say that, well, actually, woke entertainment is popular and good, which the numbers and your own lying eyes disprove rather handily. But let's dive back down this rabbit hole for a moment. Are we seeing the end of the message in media? Perhaps, but the answer to that, as with most things in le quarantiere, comes with more qualifiers than the US Penal Code regarding no-fault divorce. For starters, public sentiment has been turning on DEI for quite some time across the board. Seems like every month some major company yanks the funding out from under some DEI team, and yet we still see projects with a heavy bent towards DEI implemented all over the place continually. So what gives? Well, to answer that question requires us to make like a troll and head for the nearest bridge. Oh yes, we are going there, ladies and gentlemen. I must state beforehand that this is by no means an in-depth analysis of this particular garbage fire, as the breadth of that issue is not something to be covered comprehensively in a less than 10 minutes video. I will, however, give you the Cliff Notes version. However, in that this is the new DEI, same as the old DEI, except that it's not. Because the new version is something you're supposed to take home with you, like those carob cookies that your mom's creepy vegan friend insisted were chocolate. And yes, that is just as bad as it sounds. Whether I am referring to the cookies or Bridge, the answer is probably both. Bridge is DEI taken to its natural conclusion, and it has its hooks in an awful lot of companies and government institutions. And Bridge is not entirely alone there. There are half a dozen DEI offshoots that are being pushed as the less publicly visible ways to push DEI in corporations and institutions, because the corporations and said institutions are starting to cotton on to that DEI policies are about as popular as a Klan hood at a Black Panthers meeting. But these corporations and institutions still want to push the message.tm, and so Bridge was, and still is, a somewhat viable way of doing so. Less so now, thanks to the efforts of quite a few internet denizens who have started calling attention to it actually quite a long time ago. Well, a long time ago in internet, as they say. A week is forever in the news business. Specifically, I would call your attention to Kirsha, who has been digging into it in autistic detail. Seriously, she could give my man Mahler a run for his money when it comes to length and detail. Don't know her personally, but she has done excellent work on this subject, so credit where it is due. But all that aside, to end on a positive note, the only reason that the powers that be have taken any actions to obfuscate their profligate behavior is because they are aware that they are losing the culture war. That public opinion has turned on them, and while it has been a very long haul, and we are still very much pulling uphill, we are picking up momentum, and are finally pushing back against the woke messaging and media. And that is a very good thing. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Pete, the Radical Nerd, signing off.